I am so excited about this presentation because now I kind of revamped it. I updated it. And I even got more clear on some of these topics we're going to talk about. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys. And we're basically going to talk about how to create a course without creating any content. And you're going to walk away from this being, what I hope, feeling confident that you know enough, you are enough, and you're ready to start teaching. And that is really what I believe about creating a course. And you're going to learn a little bit about me today as well, and what I kind of like, how I came to discover this. A really like some kind of just a little bit admin type stuff. And to make sure you're the right person to be watching this. And there's a couple of nuances to this. So you're really in the right place watching this presentation about creating a course without any content if you're booked out in your one-on-one services. And that means you maybe are a service provider of some point, a coach, someone who has deliverables like maybe website or copy or something like that. That's what I did. I did courses. That was my deliverable. So you are getting consistent months. Maybe it's not perfect. You don't have to be booked out for like months on end, but you have some consistent people coming your way. Oh no, people have no sound. Okay. Yeah, click on the sound. Oh, that's why. If you do not have sound, there's a little microphone. Google, with these webinar softwares, Google, I think Chrome protects you guys from it auto playing, which is a positive. But when you want to watch a presentation like this, you have to click on the sound. Sorry about that. So yes, click on that little icon if you don't hear anything. Perfect. You're also in the right place if you've been sitting on a course idea for way too long. Please drop in the chat how long you've been sitting on your course. I sat on mine for over a year and a half, maybe 2, really, if we're being super honest. And I've had people tell me they've been sitting on a course they wanted to teach for 10 years. You love teaching, but you get overwhelmed with all the moving pieces. This is really common as well. You're worried about tech, you're worried about slides, you're worried about all that stuff. You're in the right place if you want help with that, because I'm going to hopefully squash all of those fears. The masterclass is not for you if you hate learning new things. As a teacher, I have to be like cheeky about that, but I love learning new things. Like I could watch all the masterclasses, all the courses. If you don't want to look at things a little bit differently, this might not be for you. You're totally love how things are being done in the industry. You think that courses are being taught really well. You don't care that there are marketers teaching you to not worry about taking care of the students on the other side. They just want their, revenue goal, hit the revenue goals and get their transactions. All right. And you don't care if your students get results. Now, this is where I think it starts to get really clear. I spent the last 2.5 years, 3 years building courses for people. And there was a trend where I would go to these events and I would talk to marketers and like, they would literally say, well, I don't care if my students finish the course. They have lifetime access. I thought that was terrible. I waited a while to do anything about it, but I was doing it with my one-on-one services and I was talking about it in my messaging, but you have to care about your students if you if you want to listen to me. That should be pretty much number one. Okay, so I of course have a promise to you. I think as an educator, I have some results that I expect you to have just by the end of this. No joke, you will walk away with mistakes that I see people making right now, and you can definitely avoid them when creating your course, whether or not you join me in Build a Better Beta. And all my hundreds of students that you see behind me, you will totally walk away feeling a lot more clear about what not to do. You'll also learn my process to launch quickly. And it's really a mind perspective shift that I provide for you. I promise that I will provide for you. And that framework will really help. And then I've tested and proven everything in this. We did it with one-on-one clients for over 6 months. Then I launched a beta last summer, and then I relaunched the course publicly in an event called $1 Million Roster. And now we have over 160 students that have gone through the material. So that's not including my one-on-one people. It's not even including me. So this works. This definitely works. Cool. So this is the tech stuff that I need you guys to think about and how I want you to show up today. Keep an open mind. Show up for yourself, your business, and your future students. That's why you're here. You're going to take notes, and you are showing up for your future students. And that's the take notes piece. So yes, just as long as you're paying attention and taking notes and turning off everything, turning off your phone. I love taking my phone and putting it on airplane mode or my Apple Watch, do not disturb for the next hour. Whatever you can do to try not to be distracted. Close your tabs, typical stuff. Remove distractions if you can. Grab your pen as well. And if at any point anything happens with tech or anything during this presentation, just reach out to me and I'll see if I can get you a replay or something like that if you need to. Cool. Okay. What we're going to learn today, we'll start with a little bit about me. I do think I need to share where this idea came from. I think it's really important. I will speed through it as fast as I can, though, because I know that that's an important part of presentations that, it's easy to rattle on about ourselves, right? We're going to go over the 3 mistakes that I see in course creation, and then I'm going to share with you my 4-step beta framework. And the beta is in all caps, and you'll see why in a bit. And of course, the steps you can take to get your beta course filled. And last but not least, I will be offering an invitation into my program, Build a Better Beta. And if you stick around to that stage, there will be a fast acting bonus as usual. And these are really, really good. We've been working behind the scenes on them. And this is an update to this masterclass. I am giving you guys, first of all, how to choose a profitable topic. I didn't realize how many people were still stuck at that stage. And so I want to help some people. So if that's you, raise your hand that you would like bonus number 1. For the other people that are a little bit further along, dude, the ClickFunnels Swipe Files are amazing. For those of you that don't use ClickFunnels, that's okay. But essentially, I'm giving you all the funnels that I've been using in building my business, which includes this webinar masterclass process, lots of fun things, challenges that I've hosted, and like all of that. And you could just like import it into your ClickFunnels and just start tinkering. It's pretty fantastic. We're also going to have like ClickFunnels trainings and all of that. And even if you don't use ClickFunnels, while you might not be able to input that directly into your account, you can at least like model it, even if you're using something like Lead Pages. So it's not ClickFunnels specific, except for the ease of use. But yeah, awesome. Cool. Okay, so launching quick and dirty was the only way for me to get out of my own way. This represents 2018 for me today. So what the best way to explain what I'm going to teach you today is to think about creating a signature course and putting it in like Thinkific right away or Kajabi or Teachable, and worrying about that kind of stuff is like running a marathon. So yeah, man, right? I don't know if anyone in here has run a marathon before. For me, it's intimidating. I've never done it. I don't personally have the desire now, but let's say I did. That's a huge leap to go from where I am now, which is not a runner, to running a marathon. Now, I've seen people successfully do that. It's awesome. It's great. And even with all the step-by-step trainings, a personal coach, someone telling me exactly what to do, what my time should be, all of that, it's freaking hard. So with course creation, right? Some people say, oh, you can create a course in 12 weeks or 10 or 8 or 6 or 30. Yeah, but it's still a freaking marathon. And the tighter that timeline is, the more work you're going to have to do. And so I believe that you should start with a sprint. And that is because not everyone is ready to run a marathon. Sprint. Here we are sprinting. Start with a sprint. So what's a sprint? Everyone can run a 100-yard dash. Doesn't matter if you're 5 years old. It doesn't matter if you've never ran a day in your life. It doesn't matter if you are not active. You can run it. It's going to be harder. The 5-year-old's going to be a little bit slower. The person who hasn't ran in a really long time is going to be out of breath, but you will get to the end. Even if you have to jog or walk, you will make it to that end. It's done, right? From there, and this is where course creation I am seen as so different than everyone else, is you can then build a 5K. Have you heard of the couch to 5K, right? This nice structured shorter goal that then you can turn into something like a marathon. Then there's a 10K, of course, right? So each run that you sign yourself up for is the product getting that much better at an iteration, right? But the key is it's money in your bank. So rather than start with a single focus goal of running a marathon right at the bat, like signature program, do the launch, do the webinar, create all the slides, create everything, you're going to complete smaller runs along the way. And you'll get feedback from your body after it's finished. You will see where to go from there after you run your sprint. There's this really cool bonus that I have that's going to help people. I basically can teach people how to get their beta up and going and their first student enrolled in 7 days or less. That's what this is. Okay. So with that aside, right now you see how I see things a little bit differently. Oh, I forgot that this slide was here. Oops, but that's okay. These are the things you'll get from running the sprint now versus attempting to book a marathon 3-4 months from now, right? And the comparative thing is, which seems more possible right now? Lining up, running outside and grabbing, doing a 100-yard dash, or this is a screenshot of the San Diego rock and roll marathon. So I live right around where number 5 is on that list in the bottom right corner. But I mean, look how complicated that is, right? Doesn't even matter if there's all these signposts and all these guides telling you exactly what to do, which seems more possible. Boom, right? Okay, so once I finished my first sprint, it let me grow my business by focusing on what I love to do most and which probably brought a lot of you here, and that is teaching. So I am a teacher at heart from an institutional background and perspective, which I'll share in a second. But you may not be a teacher in the education system, but you resonate with the idea of a teacher. In business, you love helping people. You love the community that courses create. You love groups. You love guiding people through content. You are a teacher. Okay, so quick, why me in this? This teacher stuff is huge. I'm an ex-sociology professor. I taught at community college for, 5 or 7 years, something like that. Went from adjunct to full-time tenure track. Born and raised in California, spent almost my whole life there, college, all levels of college, all of that. I have a dog named Emma, and I would love a picture of that, but I don't have one. And when I'm not, supporting my students and Build a Better Beta, I'm likely tuning into The Bachelor. Or for those of you who are watching The Bachelor now and you want more stuff, I kind of am obsessed with Love Island. Love Island is amazing. It's the UK version. And if you are into it, let me know because I have ideas. I like to talk about Love Island. Okay, so we're gonna fast forward here. So I spent a lot of my time in school. I love learning new stuff. I have a whole bunch of fancy letters behind my name, right? And when I was growing up, I loved teaching and I loved hearing myself talk, which is why I think I became a professor for that reason. I also liked summers off and a really decent work schedule, the ability to teach online, all this amazing stuff. But I became an accidental entrepreneur about 6 years into my teaching journey. I don't know. My husband's playing with stuff and I don't know. Excuse me. So, in 2014, at the end of 2014, I defended my dissertation. That's me turning in the final drafts. And then my graduation ceremony. That's not me walking across the stage, but that is where I graduated, was University of San Francisco. And then about a month after that, this is an old picture of my family. Look at how young I am on the left. But about a month after I defended my dissertation, my father had a seizure. So that's him, obviously, at the top. And I remember I got the call from my mom at about 7 p.m. that night. And it turned out she protected me from hearing about it in the morning. It had actually happened that night before, really early in the morning. And so 12 hours later. And she told me that I know you had to teach and there was nothing you could do. Now, my family lives in Santa Clarita, which is in a suburb outside of LA. And I was up in Northern California, like north of San Francisco. And so I really couldn't do anything. She was right. But that's what scared the shit out of me. It was this moment of making me realize that even stability of a job does not give me enough freedom or money, really, right? Resources to be able to help and take care of people that I love. So what happened is I was also in an MLM at the time. I was in multi-level marketing, a Beachbody coach, and I was working out and it was amazing. And I got a 1K month, $1,000 month soon after that. So I accidentally started a business and went all in because of this event. So some of you might have a similar feeling where you've had something happen in your life where it kind of makes you wake up and say like, well, do I have everything I need or desire or want? Well, this was my moment. He's okay. He's doing great now, by the way. His medication is awesome. His stress levels are down, which is totally what it was related to. But that made me start to realize, oh, I don't want to teach in academia anymore. So that's me leaving my office on the right. And then on the left is me actually painting the chalkboard you see behind you. And then a shot of actually my husband. When I started to get booked out that year, I knew I could leave. And so I decided to take the leap, but so did my husband, and he came with me. And that all happened within the span of like 7 or 8 months, something like that. So I leave teaching altogether, that stable job, and Derek and I sell everything. We sell our house and all our belongings, and then we basically travel the world house sitting. So that's what we did in 2017 and into last year. And this is me on the beach in Sayulita, and then that's me working. The view, like I'm glowing right there because I'm looking at the beach. It's actually pretty amazing. Okay, so I wasn't, so I forgot. So there's more to this slide. On the right, on the left is like what I thought my life was going to be like, right? I'm the boss babe, killing it, right? Doing my thing on the beaches in Mexico. I'm working with really famous people in the industry. I'm helping them make their courses better. I'm selling big contracts, #living the dream, right? But then I can remember like it was yesterday. I was sitting in a cafe with Derek in Sayulita having my favorite margarita, which was passion fruit. And we were eating chips and salsa. And I basically said, I'm fried. And I look pretty tired in the shot. This probably wasn't even the worst of it. I was fried. And he looked at me and he said, no shit. It's not a secret. He said, you're not teaching anymore. And it's true. I was like, oh my God, I created this job that I hate. I was answering to client deadlines. I was in meetings all day, like all freaking day, simultaneously trying to make sales and grow my business, right? So I was on that roller coaster of where is the income going to come from? Because more clients equals more work, equals hire a team, equals then you're a manager. Now you need more money. So Scott Olfer calls this the hamster wheel, the 6-figure hamster wheel. I think it happens at many stages in business, like even potentially before 6 figures. So the teacher, the person who loves to teach wasn't teaching, and I was the course creator without a course. And that is until January 2018, last year, where I had a client who sold 163 spots to a course that didn't exist, and she hired us to support her. It was awesome. So she didn't do any pre-recorded content. She did live teaching. It worked great. We repeated this over and over again. When we saw how successful she was, that was amazing. So we started helping people do exactly that. And so for me, I knew I was doing the beta framework, and that was it. I nailed down the process essentially, and I'm going to share that process with you. And this is where I basically, it took me less than a week to go from I'm doing it to it's happening and I have my first students. I enrolled 15 people. I think it was like 9K in my bank account. And that was awesome. So I was now teaching. But I had fears just like you, because even though I was too busy with one-on-one client work, we set up a plan to phase it out. I didn't trust that my business was ready, where would the money come from, right? I also did not have a big email list. This is really important. I had a couple hundred people and I never emailed them. How many of you have that happen? You start collecting these emails, you do these different promotions, but you never freaking email them. Yeah. So that's not a very engaged list, as they would say. So even though I had fears, I still took actions. And many of you have similar fears where, what if no one buys it? What if no one wants it? What if it's terrible? What if they don't get results? That's a big one, right? Let me know if you've thought the same things in the comments, because I felt the exact same thing. If I'm a teacher, oh my God, it has to be the most perfect course ever. And I just did it anyways. I went through the process myself. And here's what happened, what having a course did for me. It helped me make a bigger impact. I can help more people at different price points. So important. So that diversifies my business. I'm basically perfecting my method so I can take this thing evergreen, which I will be doing and have been doing. And I have control of my business. And that feels awesome. Yes, it's still a roller coaster because entrepreneurship always will be. But now I'm showing up and doing what I love doing every day. And that is, I'm not overworked and tired and stressed. And that's because I am teaching. I get to show up and teach with money in my account. So I can travel, I can do whatever I need to do, not worry about client meetings. I now just worry about showing up for my students in my course. And that's my favorite part. And I also get to change how the industry does courses. I think there's a lot to be said about being a classroom teacher and coming into this space and doing it well. So now we're getting to the good stuff, right? Okay, cool. So that's me, and why I'm basically positioned to help you do this. But the biggest thing is the mistakes. 3 massive mistakes to avoid when creating and selling your online course. And I've made every one of these mistakes. A client has made them. I literally built a 6-figure business on these mistakes. Like, people would hire me because of how freaking hard it was to make a course. So that's the first mistake. Boom, boom, boom. Title of the webinar, really. Spending hours worrying about platforms, videos, slides, and worksheets. Just let it go. You don't need it. I see it all the time though, right? All that market research I had to do in building my one-on-one business was posting in every group, right? Or you're asking your, mentor or coach, like, how do I make a course? Do I use Thinkific, Teachable, MemberPress, all the different presses? Do I need slides? What if I'm not a designer? How long should the videos be? How do I film them? What should worksheets look like? How do I ask questions? I mean, literally things that have nothing to do with the course itself. And we'll get into that for sure. So the reason why people make this mistake is pretty much the experts have told you that you have to make your course pretty, or you've internalized that because you've been in really pretty courses and you need and want to charge the same price as them. And that freaks you the F out, right? So of course, the funny part too, is they're all obviously also selling the platforms. They're getting affiliate money for the platforms that they want you to choose, right? So of course, so if you think the value is in the video and the graphics, it's not. It's really actually in you, right? So when you make this mistake, it leads to inaction. That's the key. So no selling means no students, no money, right? No teaching, no course, which means no leverage in your business. So when you get past that perfection and that doubt, you move into showing up and fully teaching. That's so huge. And if you're watching this and you're like, yes, I want to teach, that's because you are here to get people results. You're here to transform people's lives. And the results that you'll get people always means more money. It doesn't matter how good the course is, the videos, the graphics, the slides, if the students need help understanding the material better, right? If they keep getting stuck, it doesn't matter what your slides look like if you hired a designer or paid for a videographer, all things that you should not be doing, right? So let it all go. You are all that's needed to serve your people. This is the antidote to that mistake, guys. Your knowledge and your experience. In fact, that's why they're buying at the early stage of this experience, is they want you and your brain and what you've been through or what you know or what your skills you have, right? So you can actually create content in 30 minutes, not kidding. Because I actually have an exercise in Build a Better Beta that has you map out your course content in 30 minutes, and then you can start selling it. Because the problem is getting all stuck up in this stuff that doesn't matter. And remember, when you're confident that the value is in you, it frees you up to teach and to launch, which is really important because you can't teach without students, right? So Amber Chalice is an amazing example of this. She actually worked in person and does workshops and runs a business and all of that. And she knew she wanted to move from in person to online. Well, she gave it a shot. She did all the wrong things. She created a huge funnel, and she literally spent years doing this, and it was beautiful, but it cost her thousands and thousands of dollars. And when she launched, crickets, right? Using my process, she was able to enroll 18 people into her course in a webinar style launch that she had no slides for because people wanted to learn this. They just didn't need to have all that fancy stuff on the front end, right? Claire is another example. This is a perfectionist example where you create courses and then you don't think they're perfect enough and you tear them apart and you're redoing them. But she never got it out. So once she was in BBB, she saw, oh my gosh, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's actually better if it's real and organic and you bring the students along with you, which I'll highlight more of in the mistakes. And Valinda is another example. I think she recently had a launch that was even better than this. We're not even, she's launched twice now as a result. But same thing. She took all the courses, paid attention to all the gurus, all that stuff. And the more she got aware of, got deeper into this space, and many of you probably feel the same way. You got more overwhelmed, more funnels, more marketing techniques, all of that. And she felt that she had to implement before she launched. Totally wrong, right? And so this mistake has helped these people get out there way faster. And that's huge. Okay, so mistake number 2. This is a big one in a different way. Waiting for the perfect list size. So it could be list, it could be audience, it could be followers, it could be likes, it could be whatever, right? But you're basically waiting so you feel like an expert and that you've been recognized by outside people that you're allowed to sell your course. And that's a crap. And what this looks like from an action everyday kind of thing is you're refreshing your email list count. You're doing the math over and over again, right? Like 5% conversion rate. I have 15 subscribers. That is a quarter of a person buying. That doesn't even make sense, right? So you are trying and wanting to post your offer to the big groups, right? But you're scared. You're going to get made fun of. You're embarrassed for breaking the rules. These are all things that my people have experienced because they're like, oh my gosh, if I can't launch, I have to launch using someone else's audience. There are ways to do it, I promise. Or maybe at this stage also you're putting out free all the time, trying to get more people versus, right, actually launching. So the reason why people make this mistake is conversion rates are told to us from people above us, which matters. They 1,000% matter, but it doesn't factor into the human connection that you bring to your followers, people who like you, right? And you're going to hear from some results from people of like networking is really important, past clients, all of that. The other reason why people wait for their audience size is that they think that asking for money for a beta feels weird also. So they don't think they're expert enough. And if you keep waiting, the problem is you're going to be waiting forever because guess what? There is no magic number that you have to reach to be able to sell a course. It literally doesn't exist. I've had people in our course that have tens of thousands of followers and subscribers. And then I have people like Lydia, who has 7. I have someone who came and bought the program and has 0 and just got her first person yesterday. So you don't need to wait. There's no magic number. It can happen at any single number. And you don't have to necessarily build your expertise through freebies and email subscribers. You can build that simultaneously while you're actually running your beta. And you build real authority by teaching. And that's key, right? So what I want you to let go of, what I want you to do, what happens when you let go of this mistake is you get to show up, right? You get to show up. You get to be the expert that you are. You're going to build your authority, which is different than being an expert. Everyone's an expert. Everyone's an expert in their own experience and knowledge, but an authority is outside recognition. You will build your authority when you launch, when you start teaching. When you add value to the market, you will demonstrate that you're an expert. And when you put yourself out there and sell a course, that's when the list comes. James Wedmore says the list is in the launch. My launch grows when I do big promotions. And so you have to launch to do that, right? Super important. So Lydia Kitts is the best example of this. She is a web designer and income strategist. The first thing she did was post publicly, and I think she got 5 people at 297. She sent out email to a couple of her influencer friends and basically got 112 people in a few hours, just like that. By the end of the launch, 124 total. So this is someone with an email list of 7 people. Now, she shows up and gives value in Facebook groups. She has relationships with people, but she doesn't have an email list. And that is key. Mistake number 3. Whoops. I love this mistake. I just did a whole podcast episode on this. This is where you're creating and selling an info product and not a course. I don't know if you've heard people say this recently, but I hear it all the time. Maybe you've thought it. Courses don't work anymore. No one finishes them. No one wants to buy them. I don't think they get people results anymore. So the reason why is because those are info products, okay? An info product is a textbook. I can hand you a textbook on physics and you could study it, but how good do you think you would do if I tested you on it? This is my husband's zone of genius is physics. I would do terribly. And, some people can totally do it. They have the drive. They're able to, crank it out. They are able to problem solve. But for me, no thanks. So, and there's emotional shit tied to that, right? My big thing was math. Like, I never even really got into physics, but math scared me and I did not enjoy it. And there was weird mental shit I went through in my life. And so that impacts how capable I feel around a product, around a goal that I want, around finishing and learning something new. So that your students, there are obstacles and emotional shit they're bringing into your course. If you just hand them a textbook, they're not going to finish the course, right? So a textbook is not a learning experience. And that's the mistake. People overly develop the product because that's what we thought we held value. Remember, back to mistake 1, we thought the product was the value, but it's not. So people are, the questions you want to ask yourself, are you just throwing up a bunch of videos and PDFs and all this stuff, but you're not actually interacting with the teacher and other students? That's going to be a problem, right? That's going to make your students not get results. And that's why people follow me. They're like, I want to learn how to help my students. These are the kinds of things you need to do. Now, if you keep thinking that you have to make a textbook for people, an infographic, if you will. So this is my graphic that I have. This is out of my course. And there are 3 components to a course. You are all about doing the learning experience as the teacher. You're the designer of the learning experience. So it's about how all these things interact. This is the textbook. This is your knowledge in preparing for the textbook. The student interacts with the content and has study habits and motivation, but you and the student also interact and you build a classroom community. So that's what a learning experience is. This is a true course. This is not an info product. And that's what you want to create. So if you don't create this, people won't get to know you. You won't be able to help students move through the content as easily. There will be a higher drop-off rate for your students as well. So here's what you get to let go, right? Your course is going to have an impact, right? And you're miles ahead of your competition when you decide that your teaching is going to do the selling. You'll feel amazing selling it because you know how freaking good it is, right? Your audience engagement is going to skyrocket because people are actually interacting, right? That you're not hiding behind a PDF. And you're selling a way of being in the world, right? So you're taking care of thousands of students. That's what I want people to do. That's why I'm here. I want entrepreneurs to show up as teachers because that's the thing that is valuable. And that's the thing that is taking care of students. And you can do it by the thousands. The world doesn't need another shitty info product. It's true. So let it go and let your teaching do the selling. Cool. Okay, so Julie Dillon did exactly that. She ran the course. She saw life-changing results for all of them. One of them was diagnosed with a terminal disease, and she wanted to be a part of the program because she wanted to engage and do something fun and artistic. And so when she thinks about the people she's been able to help, she realizes that she's only done this because, I said that's all you need, right? And then it allowed her to move forward and step into her calling. Okay, cool, right? Okay, so now's for the juicy stuff and the framework that will help you create this transformational and profitable course, because that's also super, super important. So I know I'm flying through this, and as you have questions, Derek's catching them, and we're totally gonna, I'm gonna totally answer them. It's just making it easier for me to keep going and not look at chat. So if you're wondering why I haven't said anything. So minimum viable product, if you've heard that, that's what that stands for, is minimal viable product. And it's a term from the tech industry. Betas, running a beta of it is the testing phase of an MVP. And this is where people go through content in a real way. Well, I don't think that our teaching is an MVP. I believe that our teaching is more than that. And so I've heard other marketers use the language of MVP, get the minimum viable product out there. The reason why people struggle with selling it is because that feels like it's just not that good. Well, I want to flip it, and I want to say you are creating a MAC. It's a minimum awesome course, right? This down payment on a larger vision that you have for an amazing community experience. It's minimal because it's not taking time and money and extra stuff and not content, right? And it's awesome because it's an intimate experience for your students. It's better for them. It's better for you. It's a once in a lifetime chance for them to co-create with you. It's amazing. And so you're all out there going to go create a Mac. That's what I want you to create. Hit me up with the burger emojis if you love Mac. Maybe an apple too. That would count. So here we are. This is the framework. Ready? It starts with a B. And guess what the second one's going to be? An E and a T and an A, because we're running a beta. This is the beta framework, the framework I perfected with my clients and with myself. So this is not just like a theory and it might work. Like, this is exactly what I teach my students. So the blueprint for the course lays out the promise that you're making the students. We call these storybook endings in Build a Better Beta because it's really the promise you're giving your students that you're making for them. And it basically lays out when you're going to host the events, like the trainings, because you're going to teach it live. So you work backwards from the storybook endings that you're promising, and you basically, like a syllabus from college, you outline the expectations of the course. And it's literally the only document you need to make sales. You actually send people your syllabus when you're enrolling your first students. It lays out like expectations, that kind of thing. So it's important. The reason why the blueprint is really important is it lays out the results you're promising, like I already said, but it also prevents you from putting too much stuff in the course. That's key. And everyone talks about this. One of the biggest problems in course creation is, how do I know if I've put too much content in? Well, these promises, these storybook endings will actually show that exactly. And using it as a sales page is awesome because you get to remain flexible. When you make a sales page, first of all, it takes a shit ton of time. But when you use the syllabus, the students know that they're signing a contract with you and there's things you're going to cover, but that it's likely to change. And that's key. People aren't using a blueprint because they're not thinking about the end goal, but they're also wrapped up in making a sales page pretty, right? I've also seen people try to predict where their students are, create all the course and the content, which is what I'm trying to prevent you from doing. And you try to predict what the students need before they enroll. And then the actual people who give you their credit card are different than your market research. That's a problem because maybe they're more advanced than you thought. Maybe they need 10 steps prior. You won't know. And so you better be flexible. And that's why the blueprint is all I want you to create. Jamie Swanson did this. She's the client I was telling you about in the beginning of 2018. Oh gosh, I haven't even updated. I think she recently launched. I don't even have her final numbers, but she's made well over $500,000 from launching this way last year. Here's the cool thing is she's had now several hundred students. The first group of students were her greatest fans because they trusted her enough to sign up, right? And and they actually feel ownership of the course, right? And they were the strongest cheerleaders after. And those people pride themselves on being, the founding members, those first 163 people. So this is all possible for you as well. Amanda is another example of somebody, the course striving for it to be multi-million dollars, you have to take that first sprint as a step, right? Making that blueprint will give you that confidence for sure. Okay, so now this is the fancy part of enrolling your first students, the E in the beta framework. So I also keep this very simple and why I'm able to get my students to launch in 7 days. Basically, you're inviting the folks that are around you right now, what we would call in marketing as your warm audience. This means people who know you, are familiar with you, they've heard you before. They basically know who you are. They have know, like, and trust. We've heard that, right? So you're inviting those students. And in that process of inviting, you're actually having real conversations with people that are your ideal students. In Build a Better Beta, we call them fuck yeah students, FYSs. They're the people that are like, yes, I'm in, whatever you create. We want our class filled with hundreds of those people. So remember, this is such an important phase because if you don't have students, you don't teach, right? And so my big mindset shift for this for myself is not only like, do I need to enroll people, but being comfortable with the idea that teaching is selling. Okay. This is huge. Coming from a college professor background, I never even would have considered teaching being selling before. But it is. You're selling an idea. I sold sociology to people. I sold a way of seeing the world to people every day. So you're selling a course that is a solution to a problem that your favorite student has. You want to help them, right? So you get to teach when you sell, and the selling actually is teaching. So most people don't do this. They get really hung up on the selling. They get hung up that what if no one buys? And like I said, with the mistakes, they focus on the fear that things that don't matter. So not doing that, if all the energy is on getting people in, then you have like no energy left over for your students. So the enroll phase is really important because the mindset shift is, I can't wait to serve these people. We also talk about this in Build a Better Beta in the community. If you don't sell any spots, it's a data point. Look, you haven't created all these fancy landing pages and sales pages and videos yet. And so if no one buys, everything's okay. And we kind of go through, a process with our students for that. And the community gets behind you as well, which is really important. Or I think, whoops, my slides. Oh yeah. Okay. So Carissa Thompson, this is a really interesting story. And so for people who are sitting on maybe a couple of audiences and are not sure on who to enroll, so she had 3 people sign up. It was a little bit, she was excited because they did the work. But here's the thing. What was cool about hers, and you can read through it and see how she trusted the process. She is a marketing strategist. She does funnels and funnel builds outs. And this program was about financing, actually earning business credit. And she's like, I don't know if anyone on my list is even going to match. Well, she threw it out there and it did. So that gave her the confidence oh, I don't have to build this new audience. I can move over new people for the subject that I'm really passionate about. So people with pre-existing audiences can actually be flexible and shift really quickly in this phase. and test out something that may or may not work. Oh, there's Amber again. But yeah, so yeah, she got 18 people to sign up out of 70 people that she launched to that came up on her webinar, and 18 people bought. That's an amazing conversion rate. Okay, cool. This is my favorite phase for obvious reasons, right? This is where you start teaching. So now you've enrolled your students, you're successful, it's great. This is what I share on how to actually show up and teach. And like I've kind of alluded to, you show up and teach live. So you don't pre-record and spend time making slides or even time really making worksheets. Now, I teach how to lesson prep. I'm not saying you're totally winging it. You will dedicate what the rule of thumb in the teaching world is, like, for every hour of teaching content, you probably need 2 to 3 hours of prep, and even more if it's your very, very first time ever with the material. So yeah, you're coming into the workshop with an outline, but you're not focused on making it super fancy. This is so, so, so important. You are teaching it live, and there's really real benefits from this. And I came up with this phrase, I just said it when I was doing the $1 million roster, is let go of it needing to feel perfect. It's just you, your students, and some shit you know. That is it. That is what this course is at this stage, at this iteration, at this sprint, right? You're working on the 5K. You're not doing the marathon yet. So let go of that pressure, and it's going to help you be able to show up so much more. And many people know this, right? The transaction is not the transformation. It's the beginning of the transformation. I've heard lots of salespeople talk about it like this, and it's like, yes, and like there's some stuff that happens also after. So that is key. And when you think about it from this perspective, when you start to see it in this way, you are realizing that there's benefits to teaching like this. You get to co-create, you get to listen to your students, you as a group get to work towards something. You and your students equals something greater than themselves for all of you. That's what you're building in a small course, even in a beta, right? You get to meet them where they're at. You are able to be flexible. And I believe that more intimacy is more value. But even if you have 124 people like Lydia Kitts or Jamie Swanson in the 163 people in her beta, even though that feels like too many people for a beta, it's actually still intimate because they know that they're early on something and you're listening because you're talking to them all the time, right? So people aren't doing this appropriately. I've already explained that. But it's because marketers have told us that we need to have everything perfect. And if you're stuck on that idea of perfection, you are only building your vision. You're not building the vision of where your students want to go. Because when they interact with it, that vision's going to change. So you need to be as flexible and on your toes as possible. Because you're building this course for your students, not for yourself. That's huge. And Lexi really talks about this, right? Like, if you're doing a co-creative process with them, it actually makes people more engaged. Lexi's an amazing teacher. Like, a lot of these people in these testimonials have huge businesses and done multiple courses, and they still use my framework because it helps them with the mindset actually of teaching. This is Jason Withers as well. It's true. It's like thinking about how we dispense information and how we break it down, but also how we show up and how we want the students to show up. What marketer is teaching that in their courses on how to launch a course, right? They're not. They are not. Okay. Most important step that pretty much no one teaches on the internet, analyzing the feedback, the A in beta. This is the key to improving your course for your next set of students. So now you're working on that 5 and 10K because you've done the sprint, and now it's time to listen to the feedback. So, if your students are getting stuck at the same point in the course, or you're getting asked the same questions over and over again, this is where you're making that analysis. Now, my hack for this, please go run with this. Ask for every feedback at every point in the course. So not only just an intake and an exit survey, which some people do, but every module or every workshop you host, ask what was awesome, like what was your big aha, and what was confusing. And if you ask your students that, then you can make adjustments right away. When you wait till the end, this is the biggest mistake people make. I'm giving you guys another mistake. The biggest mistake people make is they exit survey and they're like, oh, how was the course? And the person's like, Yeah, it was good if they finished it, right? And then they're like, but do they remember what they did module 1? No, they remember whatever the most recent thing they did was. You need to test them at every stage, and you need to do something with it after. And that's where you construct your outline for the next run. You can also use it as testimonials and stuff for your marketing. So it's important to keep testing and getting that information, right? Most marketers don't teach this or do this is because most people are tired and burn the F out after launching and creating a program as they went, right? Building slides and all that stuff. But also they don't know how, right? They're marketers. Remember, they're not teachers. So they, they're not doing it in the way that they could be doing it. And anyone who taught in a classroom knows that, teaching reflection and reflecting on how things went, that's how you grow and that's how your content improves. So you definitely need to be asking for it at every stage. Summer's another example of an entrepreneur who's created many courses before. And she basically realized that, oh my gosh, this can be more fun. We hear that over and over again in Build a Better Beta, where it's like, oh, this is the best and most fun and most lightest launch I've ever done. Kendra Perry's another one. She's not in this. I have a video testimonial with her, but she was just like, I've never had a launch that was this easy and this profitable. That's because teacher, they embodied the teacher. Leslie, legit teacher, right? Here we go. She's teaching in an institution. She teaches math. So now she's getting regular students. It's all tied to her testing. And of course, she's got more of a seasonal business in this way. But now she's able to launch quickly because she's not worried about stuff. And she gets to rest on her laurels of being a past teacher, right? So she knows that confidence comes from knowing and that past experience. Heather also, so this is a little more specific about feedback, right? I was able to go and read through all the content and put together a better course. It would not have happened if I pre-built everything, right? And the students have a better experience because she chose that, right? So good. And the mindset piece in here, that's a gem. The students are going to have a better experience because of this. I get to see their aha moments, and it's so awesome. And I didn't have to overthink it. I just kept going. Key. These are all people who have employed the system. The beta was the seed. It was the starting point and not the end. Awesome. Okay, cool. So that's my framework, BETA. And what I'm hoping I just put into you was that it's possible. It's possible for us now. You don't have to wait for the perfect time or the right business choice or anything like that. That it's very possible right at this moment. And especially possible if what you're realizing, you have a calling to teach, you should be doing that faster, because when you show up and do the thing you love to do every day in their business, everything changes. Myself has recently experienced that. So I don't necessarily know exactly why you showed up today. Maybe you needed a little kick in the butt. Maybe, you've been sitting on a course for a really long time. Maybe you've started the process, but you're feeling a little stuck or overwhelmed. Maybe you're a course pro like Summer and Jamie and all these people who've made many, many courses. But you don't want to do it the hard way this time. You want to actually be able to get stuff out quickly that your people love, right? The bottom line is I've figured this out. We know how to launch quickly without sacrificing student success. That's key. And without sacrificing your sanity, also key. It allows you to show up as your best self. And that's key. So I don't want you to feel like you're on the sidelines watching your friends, your colleagues, your mastermind sisters or brothers or group, right? And competitors, those people that maybe trigger you online. You don't need to sit by and watch them launch. It's totally your time right now to start teaching. And if you could launch right now in 7 days to perfect students, what would that mean for you and your business? That's key. How would that feel? Let me know actually in the chat. I'm going to turn the chat on. I've been seeing any of this. Oh, awesome. Yay. Okay. I'm scrolling. Derek's catching all the questions. I promise. There is no number 5, only 4 steps. Yay. Okay, cool. Yeah. So what would that mean to you if you were able to launch in 7 days and have the best, most amazing students in your course? What would that feel like to you? Because, if you've waited a really long time, how many times have you pushed this goal further and further along? How many times have you woke up and been like, oh, I have to like do more client calls. I wish I could, take a break today. That's stuff I've felt personally. I see a lot of relief. Yep. Freedom. Yes. So much freedom. Cool. A GIF to express it would be awesome. I wish we could GIF in here. We can emoji. Get out of the dugout. Exactly. And I think if we can push ourselves to think about like, what would it take to do a sprint, let go of the marathon, know that we're working towards the marathon, but what information could we gather from the sprint, right? I'm ready to sprint. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I mean, I think you definitely have the opportunity to do something. There are 3 ways to go about this, right? You could, try to figure it out yourself, which also works. You can share and go do this on your own. I think this was super valuable as far as like notes and like things and ideas, hopefully. This is the slower way. Build your ship while you're in the middle of the ocean. Or you could, have me show you exactly how to do it. I built this course, it's a course built by a teacher for people who are teachers, not like in the institutional sense, but for people who love to teach and transform their audience. So that's what, that's the 4-step framework, and Build a Better Beta is the course behind that. I think I said this earlier, but yeah, it's, this has been tested and proven, and it works. It totally works. So yeah, by the end of this, this 4-step framework, I guess, I didn't realize that I had slides on this. So, how can you actually apply this system? That is something that I've thought about, right? We can do it slowly or fast track. I did not know I had systems, but we do have the system. I've thought about it. I've had 160 people go through it. You probably can't even see. It's not even the whole board. This is zoomed in on me. But Build a Better Beta is my course and product that I've created on this experience, and to let people get launching way faster by a teacher for teachers, like I said. And it really is the only course that has like content, coaching, community, a really true course. It is not an info product. And so let me kind of zoom out to show you what I cover, because I did blow through like the framework today. So the first module of Build a Better Beta is the mindset piece. And this is where we take it through like the process of where do you need to be in order to understand how this is going to work. If you don't believe this is going to work, this module is the thing that gets you in the right place, right? Where we really get into the nitty gritty is when we get into the blueprint part, right? You're going to identify what students are feeling in your course. You're going to learn metrics. You're going to develop your course topic and your schedule. This all helps you write that syllabus, so then you can start enrolling people, which is module 3. How do you collect payments? How do you attract students? How do you develop the benefit statements? How do you turn the results and the storybook endings you're promising into something that you can use and sell? This is another thing that's unique, I believe, to mine. Nikki, thank you for saying that. No, it's true. Not the only true, I didn't finish my thought on it. The only true course that is being taught by a professor who's thought about it in a different way. It's a different angle. And it's not an info product. There are good courses out there. 1,000%. Amy Porterfield's is really great. Stu McLaren's Tribe, I love. I'm hearing great things about James Wedmore. Course. Those are courses. The reason why people talk about negative around courses is because the info product industry gave us a bad taste in our mouth. I am not the only true course, if that's exactly how I said it. Sorry about that. Yeah. So that's what I meant by that. Okay. And then module 4, where are we? The teaching part, right? So I have a whole module, and we're adding more stuff to this every day. But this is the stuff, this is where I believe my zone of genius comes into play. How do you create an engaging environment? How do you create engaging live workshops, right? What to do on the first day, what icebreakers, how to structure the lesson. This is the part of really serving your students, and is another part that I think a lot of courses miss on course creation. And that's because, again, like I showed with that infographic of the overlapping things, is the teaching part is something that not a lot of people have done in real life. Now, a lot of people watching, I tend to attract a lot of teachers. Even if you're like, whoa, I've never taught anything before, but you care about transformation, then this module is going to be really key for you. I do attract a lot of people who taught in person, like workshops, live. I attract, obviously, educators of institutions, but I also attract people who know that they could do really well teaching. And so I teach you how to teach, really. And then the analysis level, oh, this is great too. This is something that is unique to us. Derek built out this whole system that collects data in a way that's going to blow you away. But essentially, it collects every comment and question that's asked in a Facebook group and then gives you a process on what to do with it. That's the key that most people don't talk about. So the feedback loops that you get, what that means is you get information from a student and then you can change something. And then you get information and then you can change something. This is the analysis level. If you've ever been in a course or felt like people ask the same questions over and over again, this module is helping you make sure that doesn't happen in your course. I hear that there's a lot of teacher burnout. Oh my gosh, I have to run this community of 1,000 people. How am I going to handle it? This is how you handle it. And this is how you make it better. So we've thought through this for sure. And then, of course, after, like how to tune up your course so then you could potentially turn it into something evergreen, which is what that's the next step of this that we're working on right now. But I believe that you can serve thousands and thousands of students and you get to show up as your full self every freaking day, not in a cohort model. The courses do not have to be run live. I actually believe that students can have a great experience as long as you've thought out that process. And so we're growing this module, but that's what's in there right now. How do you use the videos and the worksheet or the videos that you launched in your course? How do you put them into now a membership site? So I do see like someone's talking about platforms and stuff that I recommend. This is the stage where you start to make those decisions, but this is when you have money in your pocket, right? Okay. So the Build a Better framework, the entire thing includes my 7 modules. They are tight. I don't have a single video over, I think, 8 minutes. So that's amazing. We do weekly Q&A calls from now until I decide not to do that anymore, but I freaking love it because I'm a teacher. We have a Facebook group, of course. We have TAs that are in this Facebook group. 3 people that are coaching on top of me, like beside, not just me. We have people help with tech, people help with curriculum, and a community manager as well to make sure no question goes unasked. I do hot seat coaching, which is a new thing that we added where you unlock that. So when you're about to launch, you get a call with me. And it will be in a group setting, but if you're the only one launching that week and you're ready, then you can get on the call with me to make sure you have exactly what you need to take that. So, those of you on today could have a call with me by next week. So you could be launching and be finished in 7 days. And then a student orientation. Every single student gets an orientation. Another way of doing things that no one has done, no one does in this space. And that's because I want you all to start in the right way. And that's a way for you to get to meet me or somebody on my team. So student orientation is awesome. If you're like, I need in, I want to do this right now. Build a Better Beta. This is where you go. Type in go.lindsayMpadilla.com with a /enroll. Don't put anything fancy in front of the go. It won't work. Awesome. And then where do I deliver the beta from? Zoom is the tool I use. And I teach how to do that. So there's obviously a bunch of bonuses, as we do. The first bonus is epic, and this is the 7-day sprint launch checklist. So this is getting you to get your course out there in 7 days. So you get this checklist and you know exactly what pieces of the course you need to watch and exactly the steps, how to create the Facebook group, how to pick your platform, like Rebecca just asked, all that kind of stuff. The goal, I actually want you to make back the investment of this course in a week. And that's very, very, very possible. Kendra Perry, I think 16? Was it 16 or 15, Derek? In 7 days, launched her thing. What was it? 15, says Derek. He's the one who interviewed her. Ooh, my second bonus. For those of you who are sitting here going, I know you told me that it doesn't matter my audience size, but I still don't have anyone. So this is my bonus that I call from 0 to 100 to 1,000. This is how to market like a teacher. You're basically creating a social media content machine. Well, how to start an email list, how to set up those funnels, right? Without spending money on ads, how to get all the things in place that you need to start filling up just your environment of ideal students. So if you have a brand new business, you could arguably come into this module, do some market research, and then by the end of this, be able to launch in 7 days. The link again is, Derek will type it, go.lindsaympadia.com /enroll. Other bonus, Tech Vault. So this is like, for example, if you've never ran a Zoom course before, we give you the walkthrough. If you've never taken a payment before or set up a payment cart, we give you that walkthrough. We actually make it really easy in PayPal. Gridix is the app we use to collect student data. ClickFunnels, which some of you will walk away with tonight or today. Thinkific, Member Vault, and Active Campaign are coming soon. Those aren't actually in there right now, but Member Vault, I'm getting a training specifically from the owners of that company because you're going to see Member Vault when you buy. That's what platform we use. We're moving from Thinkific actually. So that bonus. Oh, this is my favorite because I get to hang out with my friends and have them help you make your course awesome. So this is like what I call my epic launch squad. So we've had amazing masterclasses hosted by some fabulous people in the industry. Joanna taught everyone how to create their online community for both a free and for your course group. So that's really valuable. She has run some huge communities in the space. Scott Olford, Rachel Peterson. She's done our course. She recently she's not doing it anymore, but she's been on the back end of lots of people's products. Amanda Bond, who we know from Facebook ads, she's also has content around conversational selling. This is so valuable in the sprint stage, and many of my students use this during their launch. Up-leveling your worksheets and course assets. Seema Barkwani, she's an amazing course kind of instructional designer, educator, similar to me. She teaches how to make amazing worksheets and course assets. And it's something you don't have to watch until you launch, but it's also really valuable. Echo Rivera, oh my gosh, slide presentation. We used her presentation to make this presentation today. That good. The last three are people who are scheduled. They have not happened yet, so you'll be able to catch them live. Many of you might know Rachel Miller. We share a lot of similar audiences. She teaches you how to create a huge Facebook audience from your business page. It's insane. Love her to death. I was in a mastermind with her. Emily Hirsch is one of my biz besties, and she's going to teach you the next level stuff with Facebook ads. She's not going to get into crazy stuff, but like what early things you can do now to sell more courses when you start to work on your marathon. And then Dave Eng is a fellow higher ed professional, and he is coming in to talk to us about gamification. Rachel Miller's amazing. Just Google Bond. I mean, any of these people, Joanna's a little more behind the scenes, but of many people's businesses. She's launching actually a course out of Build a Better Beta this week or last week, I think. But Emily and Amanda are amazing Facebook ads people. Echo is higher ed, and so is Dave. So many of you might be like, oh, that I don't know them. And it's because they're in like a different, from a different space, but that's also a positive. Seema's awesome. She's part of like Bushra Zar's world as well, and has worked on some amazing courses. Cool. Okay. So, this is a special bonus for people who pay in full. Some of you might have checked out already. If you want to pay in full, you can actually message us and we can also help you do that as well. I've never done this before, but I'm giving Voxer access to me for 90 days if you pay in full. So that means I'm in your back pocket. So if something comes up, like you're posting and whatever, you need help for something, or you're worried about something and you need a little kick in the butt or a mindset hack, I got them. The other thing is a Tech 911 hotline. That for 90 days, you can email us you basically can submit a ticket for something that goes wrong. So let's say Zoom's not working, or we had someone recently whose webcam just would not connect to her computer. Derek is amazing at this. So you aren't allowed to do like tech questions for everything, but we allow 3 tickets. And we will send you a Loom video. And then if it's still crazy, we will hop on the phone with you and take over your computer. We can actually use our mouse and go through your computer if we need to. So the tech hotline is amazing. If you're not like, if you're like, oh, I'm not very tech savvy, it would be awesome if like they can come in and, fix something when I'm panicking about, my workshop or something like that. Yeah, Ken, I love Voxer. It's my favorite. I could talk all day. Cool. And then, I have so many freaking bonuses. I forget. It's so fun. If you purchase within the next 24 hours, right on this webinar or right after when you get that repay email, which is coming soon, you get the two things. Remember, I talked about this at the very beginning of the presentation. So if you order quickly, you get how to choose a profitable course topic. So for those of you who are like, for many of you, like, maybe you have too many ideas and you're not sure which one, if you're in that phase, this will be helpful. It's also helpful if you have no idea whatsoever. And it's also helpful if you just need to refine your topic. Like you maybe need to niche down. That's an amazing tool. And then my ClickFunnels Swipe Files, I still can't believe I'm doing this. I think eventually we need to have like pictures of it and stuff, but like, I think like 6 or 7 funnels, and it's not even just funnels, like sales page templates, landing page templates, webinar templates, a 5-day opt-in challenge template, a cart template if you need to have a checkout. I mean, it's really rad. So totally worth it to hop on this as quick as possible. Sweet. So yeah, I mean, this is over $14,000. I think it's like 14,700 and something. I don't even know. But if you get that, this entire system is valued at that. And we are only charging $197 a month for 6 months, or the pay in full is $997 today, which means you save $185 and you get those extra $2,000 in bonuses, which is literally access to my team, which is kind of crazy for $997. Not even a joke. Perfect. Oh, Ken's talking about how using Voxer is perfect for teachers. That's really smart, right? I didn't even teach with all this amazing tech. So good. So I have to give you a couple more successes, because I think you don't realize that if you can get started today for $197 and get the 7-day sprint launch, that means you could easily make that back, even if one student bought. But with our strategies, you can definitely pay back the $997, even if you paid in full. So Mark Cordone is amazing. Love this dude. He's another educator. He's a past student affairs professional in higher education in the college system. So he knew how to teach, and he was running these like coaching programs, but he's like, I just didn't want to launch a course. He made $40K in 7 days because he was able to let go of the crap that he was learning from marketers and be able to step in and go, oh, wait, I'm a freaking teacher. I know how to teach. And boom, here he is. He's launched 3 times. He's done 2 betas. He did 2 betas last year, and I think he's on his 3rd, and he's actually like writing a curriculum right now, still using this process. I mean, this is a professional teacher who was able to do more in their business because of the framework I set up for them. Tara Newman's another person who is like very established and well-known in many circles around leadership. She has a master's, I believe, in leadership, and she, again, multiple. So not only can this thing help you launch the first time, it can help you relaunch and do new betas and run new betas. So it's pretty awesome. And even notice that last part where she said, I need to narrow it down. There's a lot of info. So I'm going to have a bonus content in round 2. So she noticed her students are getting overwhelmed. That's the cool part about running a beta, because then you're like, oh, I can use this as a bonus later instead of making it main content. Pretty awesome. Bond, like I mentioned. So for those of you who weren't sure who that was, that's her picture. I don't think this is her profile picture. Maybe it is. We worked on her course, but this isn't even after her recent viral article that she sold. She's probably now at like 300,000 or 400,000, but she's had multiple 6 figures in sales. They spent $102 on ads. This is someone who runs ads for a living. And then spent more to get that 65 times ROI, right? With the support of the beta process, I realized I didn't have all the answers to make the perfect course. She kept trying to model her internet idols, right? That have been doing it for 10 years. Of course, their shit's perfect. Of course, they have the best workflows. Of course, they can turn out courses because of where they're at. So rather than staying stuck, she created the exact course that her student needed at the time. I think she ran through her version of the strategy system 4 times. We were on the back end of that, helping her improve the content, but it's amazing about how much it gave back to her. It literally helped her create her framework. I mean, she's speaking at Traffic and Conversion. She's coming in like, a few weeks from now. And that's what this process has given her, is that it's pretty awesome. Sarah's another one, launched her course in 3 days and made $11,000. Again, no content, nothing. And it's doing it, right? Like, it's going. It gave her the kick in the butt she needed. Who knew it could be so easy, seamless, and fun? And I think our community also is huge on that. It works for membership sites. So, adding $430 to recurring revenue, that's pretty awesome, right? So she's working on creating the best tribe ever and the best membership, but it's a process. It's iterative. And that's what I think the beta framework does. Oh, no. Oh, this one's all fancy. Yeah. So, yeah. So the idea that she didn't know where to start, get overwhelmed, blah, 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 7 people in less than a week and made over $2,000. Pretty awesome. The end result course is a one-time live Zoom. No, it's multiple times. So I suggest, it depends on how long your course is. Actually, we had someone run it in a weekend and it was like several hours. So it depends. You get to choose how you actually deliver. But for example, my course was 6 weeks long. So I gave about an hour and a half workshop, very interactive. It's not me teaching the whole time. And that's the content that becomes the modules. The modules that you see now, this is the second. Well, now, I mean, we've been continuously working on it, but it's the 3rd or 4th iteration of our content. I reworked everything from the first time I taught it. Yeah. Yeah. And so the question isn't whether you make your money back, but how many times you'll be able to do it over. I gave you multiple examples of people who launched multiple times using this system because they know that they're creating an amazing experience. And it's not just about launching quickly. It's about making the course better. That A part of beta is the thing that I think is the most valuable. I know you all want to launch quickly, but the most valuable part of the course, the thing that no one else is teaching, is literally how to make it better every time, how to add value and how to make the course as seamless as possible. My course, this isn't even as awesome as it's going to be. It's only going to get better. And that's the part that I love about it. And that's the thing too. We do have a 60-day money back guarantee. This is kind of bananas. I believe that you should be able to launch and test out this process for yourself. And even if you launch in 7 days and no one buys, the reason why I made it 60 days is because then I'm going to show you, okay, you need to teach. You need to teach publicly so you can attract your ideal student. That's the bonus. That's called 0 to 100 to 1,000. That's where you build your ideal audience of students that are going to buy the next iteration of the course. So I need to give you 60 days to figure that out. And if you're engaged and you're doing the workbooks and you're, showing up to the Q&A calls and it doesn't work, we will happily refund you, because I don't want you to be out money and not have a business that's generating an income from you on the other side. So not even a question at that point. So 60 days is a long time to dive in. But also I just want to demonstrate to you that I believe in this and I know how many people we've helped. And even people who've sat on their courses for a little while and didn't launch are coming back in. We have methods that we're testing out around student engagement. We have a weekly newsletter. We do all these amazing things because this is a community. It's not an info product. I don't know how many times I can repeat that. But if you don't like it or you don't get results, and you give and you do the work and you make course launching a priority and it doesn't work out for you, I will happily refund you. Happily, happily, happily. So this is what the checkout process will be like. We use something called Samcart. If you've used it before, you can just select if you want to pay in full or in installments. But remember, when you pay in full, you get some amazing extra bonuses, which is great. So yeah, I'm just going to leave this final thing about just a reminder of what everything includes. The audience growing bonus, the sprint bonus, all the touch points again, because this is a course. I'm a teacher. This is what I want to do every day. I want to show up for you guys. So that's real. And then, the master classes by my favorite experts and the tech vault. I mean, all of this for only $997. It's pretty nuts with a 60-day money back guarantee. So I want the sprint launch to happen for you so you can pay for this by yourself within a day, right? It is for the doers, the people who do the results. So, I mean, I'm a teacher. I see people fight about this all the time. Like, who owns the outcomes of your students? I believe it's actually 50-50. I believe you have to meet me halfway and I have to meet you the other half. So I am continuously improving this product. I'm continuously adding access points to me and the help that you need, because it is about doing the results, but it's also about getting help when you need it. And that's what makes Build a Better Beta a very different program. Awesome. So yeah, I mean, if you don't do anything today, if you don't take action, if you decide, no, it's not the right time, I don't have enough money, I'm not ready to launch a course, I don't have an audience. If you sit here and tell yourself that's the reason why you can't try today, I understand that money is an issue, of course, for lots of people. And that's why we have a payment plan. And that's okay. You don't need the painful bonuses. Like, you can make it, especially if money is tight, because I don't want you to not be able to do what you should be doing right now, and that's teaching. If you need to leverage your time, if you know that one-on-one might not be for you, we don't do one-on-one anymore. I have one service that I have a team member who's amazing at. They do it. And so we don't build courses for people anymore. It's just not my zone of genius. It was killing me. And now I'm so happy taking care of my students. So you have to take a step in that direction. And kind of just believe in yourself at this moment, because not doing it means you don't get students, you don't have money from a course, and you don't get to leverage your business. And that's huge. Let's see. So yeah. I can leave it at that. I'm trying to think. Oh, I love it. More students, better results, less work. That's our method at Build a Better Beta. So cool. The course, the community, the calls with me and people on my team, all important stuff, and the bonuses. That's what we're doing. So boom, Q&A. Derek, what do we got? Slack. I need to do a thing. So Derek has been collecting all the questions. Okay, cool. Amber's saying, I don't get it. Are you proposing we do like a Q&A session? No. So you will teach like a lecture. I teach you how to actually structure a lesson plan. It's built on my days of teaching as a professor, where I really had to stand up in front of real human beings and teach. So yeah, it's that, but it's also kind of like a Q&A, and it's a touch point for your students. That's why it's an intimate thing and a positive result. Oh, yay, a college instructor for 11 years. Yay, I love hearing that. Derek gave me some of the, it sounds like not just questions. Or was that, wait. Oh, okay. I love it. I love my professors. Did I mention that Derek was a physics professor? I don't even know. I said I said he took the leap with me, but I didn't even say what he taught. Do you want to say hi? The other professor. Okay, cool. Doctorate in psych. Yes. Okay, cool. Is the beta free? No, we are charging. This is a great question. So typically I have my students start with about $500 as a minimum, but there are other students who've made choices. I didn't get into Lydia's explanation, and this is why the support of the community is so important, because we troubleshoot with you. We've had people change their pricing in the middle of a launch. That's kind of a big deal, but with the beta process, you can. So I think 500 is a great starting point, because it is a premium experience. You will never launch or create or teach the course in this way again. You're going to now turn it into videos. Like, if you sign up today, you're going to see the course, right? That's what I call my textbook. What you see is the textbook, the workbooks, the videos, that's the textbook. The community and access to me is where the teaching happens. So because I teach weekly Q&As, please tell me who's doing that and is doing that indefinitely. Because I do that, Derek even shows up. And because I have special TAs in the group that have specialty in curriculum design, you get questions answered. That moves you out of the block of, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough, or is my content good enough? So sometimes it's pricing. So in the middle of a launch, again, I told you guys, you get a hot seat call with me. That's bananas. So not only am I doing Q&As, I'm actually doing this special hot seat call. I did mention you have to unlock it by completing material in the beta, but in the course. But that's because I need the people that show up on that call to be like exactly ready to launch, because then we can figure out, what is the price? What do you need to feel and hear to be able to charge that and sell it? Because I could tell you your course is worth $1 bajillion. I think this course could be worth $1 bajillion. Like, I am going to collectively make people millions and millions of dollars and impact millions and millions of lives. That's pretty dang valuable, right? So, but I have to feel good charging, right? So I compare what other people are charging in the industry. I use tactics to get pricing that feels good, but also pushes me. This price of this product will be going up soon because we're adding so much value and really making it the best possible experience it could be, because it's a learning experience. It is not an info product. You can confidently purchase this knowing that you will get help. Boom, bottom line. And that I will teach you how to be the same for those other people without burning out. That's key, because I see a lot of people, I'm in these spaces and they like sell 1,000 spots and like, oh, I have a manager run it. Cool, I guess. Like, you know, like, and that's fine. And I think this is for a certain type of person, this business model. That's what I'll say, because that also works. But I love teaching. So why wouldn't I just show up and teach and have fun? This is what I get to do for a living. It's amazing. I went off tangent there, but yes, charge. Yeah, Amber. Ooh, I love this question. So I go into detail in the course. So Amber's question is, how do you frame the blueprint as being a document of the results you're promising, and also have it be flexible at the same time? What if some people want it just as is and others to shift? On the first day that you teach, there is an amazing activity that I teach you how to do that is going to actually resell the course to your students. And you're going to basically ask them what their biggest fears are about the course. They're going to tell you, they're going to say, my biggest fear is that no one's going to buy it. My biggest fear is all the fears that I listed, you know, at the beginning of this. So I basically then go through the syllabus live on the workshop and say, yes, I cover that here. You know what I found out when I ran my first beta is that people needed help with selling. And I wasn't planning on covering too much of that. And as a result, I totally shifted what was happening in that module. So what happens is you set the precedent that you're listening and that you're going to make this experience awesome for everyone. Most people are not going to be like, oh, I can't believe she's adding that valuable thing. They won't. So they're going to see you in a positive way because you're taking care of your people. You're bringing everybody to the table and you're asking for help and feedback from them. You're a guide rather than a sage on a stage. For those of you who are professors watching, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I just talk the whole time and you take notes. It works sometimes, but when you're a guide on the side, it's actually empowering. So it's empowering the students in their own education with access to you as their guide. It's freaking amazing. I love it. Okay. Did you get their feedback in the webinar? Did they send it to you? So great question, Jane. So when you host the masterclass in that week, one thing I love about teaching live that you just can never get with video is you get to watch the reactions watching the material. And you get to say, oh, and when you rewatch, so in the analysis phase, you actually rewatch what you taught, okay? And you're going to say, oh, I'm watching them now on Zoom and they didn't get it. Or they're like, someone raised their hand and I didn't see. And so you can pay attention to that. And then when you go to rewrite your outline, your videos can be tight and succinct. And then the feedback from the survey, you would basically have that prepped before the workshop and you would drop it at the very end and say, can you hurry and do this? And then you can also put it in your Facebook group and say, for those of you who've watched the workshop, can you please fill out this really short survey? So you basically just make it a part of the week. I think I answered that. Zoom. Okay. How much do you think it costs for the platforms and payment things to get the whole course done? Totally, Vic. Great question. Okay. I know exactly how much. So there's a couple choices you get to make as a business owner. Google Docs and Facebook are free. So those are the main things that you're going to be hosting things on. You will need Zoom. Zoom is my favorite. Zoom Pro costs $15 a month. I actually suggest, but again, it depends on budget, it is buying the Zoom with the webinar feature. It actually allows you to live stream into your Facebook group. So when I was teaching live, I live streamed into the Facebook group so people could watch on Facebook and not join through Zoom. And I get the added benefit of not having to upload the video after. And remember, because the Facebook is where your course is being held. It's not in Thinkific. It's not in these sites. And so that costs $55. So that's a $40 difference. So you can decide, do you want to just do that yourself to save money? You can totally do that. The other tool that can be helpful is something called Ecamm, which is a $75 one-time fee. But the problem with Ecamm is it's not really workshop, in like Zoom where you can get the Brady Bunch feature and see everyone. I love that when I'm teaching. So, because it really helps with feedback. So that I really just recommend Zoom is like my top choice. And then there are other options. I think Be Live, you could just stream live. Like there's choices you get to make, but cost-wise, $15 for Zoom, not too shabby. Payment processors. So here's the amazing thing that's an update coming in this course. Your guys who buy today are going to see Member Vault. Member Vault has this amazing plan, a free plan where you get all the features for 50 people. So your first beta folks can be in there for free and you get all their features. One of their features is a checkout system that allows for payment plans. Now, you're going to see in the Tech Vault, if you watch the PayPal, because I actually teach, just make a paypal.me account. You don't need to make this complicated. Again, totally free, right? Well, it's a little more complicated if you want payment plans. It actually doesn't work that well. So Member Vault, you can actually have a whole checkout process in there. It's pretty awesome. So, and it's free. So it's free for 50 users. We pay for it. And even from there, it's not that expensive. I want to say $40 a month for a certain number of users. The idea though, is you will build your list on that platform, but you don't have to do that right off the bat. And we're going to have the owners of that company, the creators, the developers actually come in and teach how to use it. And that's coming up. Okay. So I think that's it. ClickFunnels, if you wanted to create landing pages, which again, you don't have to do until you make money in the beta, then you can, there's a $19 one and there's a $97 one. So I can get into like all of those nuances, but at the bare bones launch sprint thing, $15. Boom. Crazy, right? Okay. I am not moving you towards the live Zooms. I think we saved them because I think I'm going to show them as an example. Maybe I did. Actually, I'm not sure. We have the videos, but no. It's completely pre-recorded videos. You guys have the 10K, run. You do not have the sprint. You are not paying for the sprint. This is out of beta mode. There are things we're trying with like engagement and stuff, and we're adding content and we're making it better. Like next week, we're revealing there's checklists for every single module. We're doing really cool stuff. We have this other secret thing that we're working on the back end because I'm going to do a big promo around it, but you guys will benefit from that. So it is not in beta mode though. This process is now pretty fleshed out. How many weeks? So you get all the stuff right up front. Did I not mention that? So you literally get every module right now. So it's not weeks, it's just length of time. So the videos total, again, like I said, there are some videos that are 3 minutes and I think the highest is like 8 minutes. It's just as fast as you can do it. You can, again, I'm not lying when I say you can launch in 7 days because you can consume the first 3 modules and get going, like no joke. So I give it to you right away because I want you to launch right away. Sorry, Keisha, I don't sell just the 7 days launch because actually it's 3 modules of my course, but it's broken down into this really cool actionable checklist that you get access to. There's also going to be a student orientation call this coming Monday. We host them every single Monday. So you can come on that call. We'll make sure you're logged in. We'll make sure you've looked through the right things and we get you moving. And then you might even unlock the call with me if you're moving through quickly. So we've gamified the course in that sense. Zoom limit of number of people. I think it's 100. It's either 50 or 100, Nikki, of people who can show their face on the camera, I believe. Why call it a masterclass? That's a good question. So people talk about this. I believe that you could call it either. I like masterclass because it's the teacher in me that wants to call it that. I've also seen people say things like workshop, but to me, workshop would mean, I don't know, we're working on something together and for an outcome. And I like charging for workshops. I think masterclasses can totally be free. I just like the energy of it over webinar. And then when you go to turn it around to your students, like, oh, I'm teaching this masterclass this week, it feels very school-like. I don't know. I like that energy. So I think it's just a choice for me. So yeah, that's where it comes from for me. So the live Zoom approach is the beta, and then you move towards recorded videos. Yep, and we teach you how to move towards recorded videos in the analysis and after the beta phase. Yep, and you'll see what I've done with that process, basically, as an example. Video for each module is max 8. Yeah, what other time commitments are there to do? Yeah, it's definitely more than 20 minutes launch, Amber. Like the 7-day launch is like, so without looking at it right now, it's set up the Facebook group. Like, if you have an email list, you might want to email your people. I give you some templates for that kind of stuff. Like I make it easy in the group, but the doing is going to take some time. And then the conversations that you need to have with people, the posting that you need to plan, like it's not a joke. I just want everyone to know that it's possible. And if it doesn't take 7 days, you can do it in 14. But it's very possible in 7. I think that's the key. And every business owner comes in with a different level of skills. If this is your first rodeo, it's doable if you have a lot of time. The people who maybe are familiar with Zoom, I mean, we have people that have never used Zoom. We give you the tech tutorial and we teach you exactly how to do it. But there are other people who use Zoom every day. So they don't need the tech tutorial. They know how it works. You see what I mean? So it's very possible to launch in 7 days and only have to spend a couple hours a day on it. I would clear your calendar. I would not do client calls. I mean, there's lots of strategies to make it happen. But the return policy is 60 days also. So if you want to plan your sprint launch to be in 2 weeks, you can totally do that, right? And if you choose the payment plan, you have a month before the next payment kicks in. So these are all things that are choices that you can kind of make, but it's going to depend on your comfort level, but you get access to us, right? So one of the first things we have you do in the community is to commit to your launch date. And I know that sounds really crazy, but we do that because when you put that launch date on the calendar, you go, like you hit the ground running and you do everything you can to make it happen. So you'll see that. You'll see in the Facebook group too, we do this cute little field trip thing and stuff. So we have a launch calendar as a community. So we know when everyone's launching. We send a newsletter out and it has the names of the people that are launching that week. I mean, it is a community. And so we want to help you do that, right? So again, you look at your own calendar and you get to decide. Yes, Nikki, we talk about pricing. Yep. And then, and pricing, I think is something that people need to be coached on too. I give especially in the how to choose a profitable course topic, which is the fast acting bonus. I really kind of talk about like what makes for a profitable course, but in the course, like in the enroll section, I do talk about how to do that because it is a really important part. And then usually there's nuances that people want to work through. So the Q&A call or asking the group, we can help you move to a price that feels good. Yep. Cool. Anyone else? Ooh, man, hour and 45 minutes. The Q&A has always pushed us over. And I'm doing another one in like an hour. Cool. Well, thanks, Sue. Thanks for coming. Thanks, Amber. Thanks, Nikki. Thanks, Brittany. Oh no, the flu. Exactly. There's people who are sick. Yeah. You definitely want to do it when you feel good. So I'm not forcing you to launch in 7 days, but I do want to demonstrate that it's very, very possible. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for sticking with me this entire time. That was super fun. I love talking about teaching, as you can tell. So thank you so much. Yay. Cool. I will see you around. I cannot wait to see who's joining and welcome new people into our community, and you'll get your name on this board. It'll be pretty fun. So hope to see you there.